We got Nan Hayworth joining us now with the Independent Women's Forum, Democratic strategist Robin Biro, and Heather Zumaraga, a financial analyst. So, Heather, begin with you on this one fear that maybe Bill Johnson of Heinz fame had ended with, this concern about a trade war that could escalate, the settlement with some key issues with the Europeans notwithstanding, that could wipe out a lot of benefits that we're seeing via tax cuts. Are you worried about that?
A trade war is the only thing that could really derail this economy right now. I don't think it's a lunar eclipse, maybe the loony eclipse that you were referring to. But look, this is a stellar GDP number. Americans are captivated by this. And regardless of if you're Republican or Democrat, I think you should be cheering a higher GDP number. It is the biggest macroeconomic data point that we can look at to see how well the economy is doing. So 4.1% looks very good.
You know, Robin, if you are looking at the political landscape here, this is the one thing Republicans keep falling back on. The economy is chugging along and at a nice clip, and they think it will, not necessarily a 4% plus clip in future quarters, strong enough to be, again, the most robust since the last time the moon was this close. Yes. To the Earth. See, I'm not giving up on this analogy here. So do you think that's something that Democrats have to worry about? Not the proximity of the moon, but the proximity of a roaring economy.
Well, first of all, we should all celebrate this. This is wonderful for Americans. This is great for our country. So I agree with the former panelists. But, you know, as far as Democrats being worried about this.
The economy or the moon?
The moon.
Oh, got it. There we go. Yeah, here we go. This is it.
Politically.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk about the politics. So, you know, it's not translating necessarily into actual wage growth, though. When you look at the actual dollar, it increased by 2.2% from June of last year to June of this year. It should be more than that, but when you factor in inflation, it's actually down 0.2%. So we're a little bit, that's going to sort of negate some of the benefits. I think people are going to look at their actual take-home pay, and that's going to tell the real story come the midterms. But, you know, nonetheless, this is great news, and Donald Trump does deserve credit for this.
Wow. So, Dan, what I want to know is how do people react to that? I sometimes think people react on what they hear or feel, and if they hear the economy is still moving along and it's going at a good clip, do they look at that, or do they start looking at themselves and start thinking, oh, you know, maybe I can sample the job market, I can look around, I can demand a bigger raise from my boss? What?
Well, you know, Neil, we can see it. I mean, we can see it in the employment and unemployment figures. And certainly the percentage of the available labor force that's employed has gone up. The unemployment rate has gone down to, in fact, record levels, as we know, in communities of color, and close to that for women and for everybody in the country. So, you know, to Robin's point, and he makes a good point that, you know, people have to perceive it in their own pockets and in their own lives. You're right. But I do point out, Robin, that with tax cuts, most Americans are, you know, almost the whole country, but for some places like sad New York, where some folks are not going to necessarily, they're going to miss their SALT deduction, most people are going to see more in their paychecks. They are seeing more because of tax cuts.
We'll see, because we don't want all of this cratering.
No. Well,
All right, let's take a look at this. I love this stuff. This is lunar eclipse that's going on, visible to everyone.